Lesson 2: Developing Communication Strategies. Welcome to the second part of the training in communication skills. At the end of the section, lesson learners should be able to develop communication strategies. Learning activities consider special communication needs in developing strategies to avoid discrimination in the workplace. Special instructions. Provide samples of communication strategies. Learning activities 2. Consider special communication needs in developing strategies to avoid discrimination in the workplace. Special instructions. Learning activities 3. Analyze, evaluate and revise communication strategies that were necessary to make sure they are effective. Special instructions. Role-play special communication needs. Develop communication strategies. Introduction. This unit involves developing communication strategies that are effective in disseminating of information internally and externally, considering special communication needs while developing the strategies. The unit also involves analyzing, evaluating and revising communication strategies where necessary to make sure they are effective. Definition of key terms. Communication. This is a process through which information is exchanged between groups, individuals, etc. by use of common systems of symbols, signs or behavior. Communication strategy. This is the plan of achieving the set communication objectives. Communication pathway. This refers to an established connection between two endpoints, with each endpoint on a separate zone or server. Communication pathway. This refers to an established connection between two endpoints, with each endpoint on a separate zone or server. Developing strategies for effective communication. Communication strategy is the plan to achieve the set communication objectives. Strategies for effective internal and external dissemination of information are developed to meet the organization's requirements. Characteristics of a communication strategy. A brief summary of the situation analysis. Segmentation of audience. Theory informing the strategy development. Approaches to be used in achieving the objectives. The desired change's position. Benefits of the desired change. Communication channels to be used in disseminating information. The strategy implementation plan. The monitoring and evaluation plan to be used. Budget. Importance of a communication strategy. Improves workplace communication. Increases employee-client satisfaction. Positively affect absenteeism and turnover rates at the workplace. Sparks innovation. Improves employee productivity. Attracts top talents, ideas. Developing a communication strategy. In order to develop an effective communication strategy, a 10-step process is undertaken. This involves analysis of the big picture. Understanding what has to be accomplished before embarking on the strategic communication plan. Clearly define the goals of the organization. Before the planning stage, make sure the organization's goals are well defined in order to formulate a successful plan. Clearly define the individual program's goals in the organization. Program goals are more specific than the organization's goals and must be well defined. Clearly define the specific means of each program's communication. Different programs may require different means, so clearly define the means of communication for each program. Clearly define the target audience. Clearly identify the groups, people, clients to be communicated to. Clearly and carefully develop the messages, information to be portrayed. This will give the target audience a better understanding. Set a timeline. This gives an organization a strict guideline, thus keeping it on track to execute its tasks in a timely manner. Develop an initial plan. This gives the organization a direction to proceed in. This is a step-by-step process that must be followed to achieve its objectives. Implement the plan. Elements of the plan. Specific elements of the plan are put into action as they follow each other. Assess, evaluate elements of the communication strategy. This helps to determine what is working and the adjustments to be made. Consideration of special communication needs. Special communication needs are considered in developing strategies to avoid discrimination in the workplace. When developing communication strategies, communication needs of different stakeholders of the organization must be considered. Group dynamics. Consider different abilities and special requirements of different stakeholders. A special consideration to the interactions and forces that operate between the groups. This will enable a strategy to be very effective in communicating to a group of employees, clients. Styles of group leadership. You must also consider the leadership styles employed by different groups. Thus, the group norms must be well understood when developing communication strategies. Consider authoritarian leadership style and its implications, democratic leadership style and laissez-faire leadership style and their implications. Openness in communication. Communication strategies must be able to reveal information about the organization, people, willingness to listen, and react honestly. However, openness must be applied with caution. In communication, strategies sometimes have to vary messages based on unique situations. Due to the fact that people and things change, flexibility in communication is inevitable. Communication skills. Consider specific communication skills when developing strategies. These skills may include clarity and conciseness, confidence, empathy, respect, open-mindedness, friendliness, etc. Note: when developing and implementing strategies, we must beware of bias and discrimination. Thus, different communication skills must be considered: the group dynamics, leadership styles, flexibility, openness, among other factors must be considered. This will ensure effectiveness of the strategies. Analyzing, evaluating and revising communication strategies. Communication strategies are to be analyzed, evaluated and revised where necessary to make sure they are effective. After an initial communication strategy plan has been implemented, it is good practice to analyze, evaluate and revise it for its effectiveness. Through this, all the elements will be assessed, and their visibility established. It will also necessitate adjustments for elements that won't work well. Steps in analyzing a communication strategy. In analyzing a strategy, organizations must consider SWOT analysis, thus measuring the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and strengths of strategy. Identify the strength. Check on the level of engagement, the interests developed, attitudes, and how people visit your organization, the sites. Consider this from both internal and external perspectives and capitalize on them. Identify the weakness. Check on the weakness, faults, and defects of the communication strategy. Identify the opportunities. Check on the development trends, possible changes in the market, and alternative ways of combating the weakness identified. Identify threats. Identify the red flags and obstacles, competitors, technology, new requirements, and demands and act on them appropriately. Evaluating a communication strategy. After analyzing the communication strategy, evaluate it by measuring activity metrics, i.e. check on what the organization is doing to implement the strategy and process of disseminating information and its compatibility with the work plan and practices. Reach metrics, i.e. check on the size of the audience and whether it is the right audience for the information. Engagement metrics, i.e. check on the effects on the communication by checking the level of interaction. Impact metrics, i.e. check on the behaviors and attitudes shifted. Revising a communication strategy. After the analysis and evaluation of the communication strategy has been done, it is prudent to revise it and make it more effective and viable. Thus, the following should be checked: if the goals are realistic and achievable, the timeline set is realistic, the adequacy of the resources allocated, make a comparison between actual and projected results, check on the legal requirements and update, internal reorganization in the organization, product changes, audit discoveries, input from major stakeholders, organization procedures, etc. Conclusion: this learning outcome effectively covered the intended aspects of strategies for effective communication, including those that avoid discrimination in the workplace. Appraising the strategies to ensure they are effective in any given organization has also been covered. Further reading: Afoloyan, A. and Newsom, H. 1986. The Use of English Communication Skills for University Students, London, Longman. Stanton, N. 1982, Mastering Communication. Macmillan. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lesson. Thank you.